Wow. That's a lot of you. Now, when I first made that original announcement in my Just a Pineapple video, where I said if you hit or got me to 200 subscribers, I would do a tutorial, I thought you guys would give me a little bit more time. Like, when I made that video, I was at like 110 subscribers or like 90 or something. And then within a week, you guys get me past 200 subscribers. Last I checked, I'm at like 205 right now. First off, thank you guys for the overwhelming support, but y'all gave me no time to prepare this tutorial, so if this sucks, if this tutorial's bad, this is your guys' fault for supporting me. But without any further ado, here is the tutorial. Alrighty, for this video, I am going to be doing a cover of Osmosis by Good Kid. I will also be including all of the AI stuff that I do, and this will be a full released cover on my channel. After you finish watching this video, you can go and watch the full cover on the channel. It will be uploaded at the same time as this video comes out. Now, just to go over the gear that I'm using here, this microphone is a Shure SM58. The audio interface I'm using is a Lexicon Lambda. This is just a normal XLR cable. I just have a mic stand here, and then I have my phone on a tripod in front of me for the camera. I am too broke to afford a real camera, so I just use my phone. But yeah, let's get into the actual recording process. And this is not me doing this in post. I'm literally just recording myself doing the process of making the cover. But instead of just doing it, I'm going to be talking through my process and what's going through my head. So right here, I have the instrumental version of the song that I will be playing. Just a little snippet of it. Yeah, it's basically just the instrumental version of the song. I have the audio track here where I will be recording with my microphone up there. And that's about it. What I do is I just stand up, I sing the song, and then after that we can get to processing it. So let's do some singing, shall we? I almost forgot to turn on the camera. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. If I actually got that on the first take, I'm going to be so happy. Because usually these take me like 3 or 4 takes to get right. But that was the first take. I'm not gonna lie. If I nailed that, I'm gonna be so happy. Alright, update. I did in fact get that on the first take. I am very proud of myself. That has never happened before when I do the song covers. But another common misconception is that I chop up my songs, or I do a thing called comping, where basically I chop up a bunch of different performances and then I just go up there and lip sync. That is never the case. All of my stuff is always done in one take, and the take that you see on video is the take that you hear in your headphones. So just to clear that up, I don't do any chopping or any lip syncing. I have nothing against that. I just don't do it personally. Now let's get to the part where we actually have to mix this in to the whole thing. So here what I do is I have my vocal take, right? Open up, I fall right through. I have the open up, I fall right through. And the first thing I do is I run this through a program called Melodyne. And I'm just going to let this do its thing real quick. But basically what it does is it gets all the pitches that I sang, so I can go in and correct any wrong notes I may have sung, or anything that was flat, sharp, etc., just to make sure that it fits the style, make sure that everything is pleasing to listen to, and I don't go off pitch at all, while still making it sound like human. This isn't like Autotune, really. This is more just like tiny little tweaks here and there that I do. So anyways, I'll just let this run. So here what I do is this thing has seen that the song is in A major. That is correct. For those of you who don't know, I have perfect pitch. I can hear keys and notes and stuff, so I know when something's off and I know by how much, and that's why this program's really useful for me, because I can only tweak the stuff that I know. But I can do this cool little thing where what I do is I go over here, I slide this thing called the pitch center all the way up, all that does is that makes it so that all the notes I sing are perfectly on tune to the scent. So if I just listen to this. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. Verses without. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. It's very subtle, but it just makes it so that everything is perfectly on the note. Different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you. It's not the same when. It's not the same when I'm with you. It's not the same when I'm. It's not the same when I'm with you. It's not the same when I'm with you. My voice kind of did a little crack-a-lack there, so I'm just gonna fix it. It's not the same when I'm with you. It's not the same when I'm with you. It's not the same when I'm with you. And basically what I do is I go through, I listen to each little part of it by itself, and then what I do is I go in and I just fix any notes that are off, so that, you know, I can be actually singing the right notes. So now that that is all completely tuned and I'm singing all of the right notes throughout the song, then I can start doing the more stylistic edits, and that is where the processing comes in. First up, we gotta get the nitty-gritty out of the way. We gotta slap on an EQ. Now EQ is arguably the most important part of any mix. What it is it's cutting out all of the frequencies in the vocal that we don't want, such as all this low end where all like the plosives and like the deep rumble in the voice comes. That's not good. So I will always slap what's called a high pass filter on it, and basically it's just cutting out all that low end. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen to the vocal, but it's always a surprise when... and I just isolate that frequency so I can just listen to just what I want to hear. And it's always a surprise when... So sort of like figure out where that like is coming in. So there's that low pass filter. First in the vocal chain, low pass filter always. Then after that, what I do is to be stylistic and true to the style, I'm slapping like actual real auto-tune on it. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to get the information from Melodyne. It's going to cut out all of the information from the EQ and the high pass filter we did to get rid of all those low frequencies. And then it's going to tune the vocals even more to make them tighter, but also to give it that slight auto-tune sound that the original song had. And this is a very, very, very important step and a very important hack that I always use when I'm making these songs is I listen to the original song. Now, what I have here is I pulled up YouTube right here, and here is just the original song. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this, you know, audio here. Right, I already did this, right? I already have a folder here on my PC. I already have a folder here on my PC that has the song on it, right? What I do is I just go here, extract all the files. Yep. Boom. Then I go here. I go MP3. I find Osmosis, right? I find Osmosis. I drag this into the project. And then what I do is I take a listen to what the original vocals sounded like. So here's the original. And here's my vocals. It's not the same when I'm with you. Open up, I fall right through. Take a listen again. Notice how notice how the original vocals are very, very noticeably auto-tuned. It's not the same when I'm with you. Open up, I fall right through. And notice how mine aren't. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. So what I do is I get the key of the song. There's a plugin called AutoKey for that. I just run this for a few seconds. And of course, I know it's an A major. Oh, that's sharp minor. Interesting. So I'm going to send that data to Autotune. With you, you open up, I fall right through. And I'm with you. And then I have a preset right here called the pop vocal. Set this to modern, put the format, and basically what that's going to do is that's going to really tune the vocals, really going to lock them in.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
And notice how you get like a little bit of like that auto-tune warble effect right here.
Fall right through.
Yeah, the through. Yeah. I don't want that. So I'm going to increase the flex tune a bit. And all flex tune is it's easing up on the auto-tune and its detection of what a wrong note is, so that when I'm doing the stylistic slides like when I'm doing like the stylistic slides there, it doesn't count those as wrong notes, it just counts those as stylistics. Then I'm going to put the humanize effect on it a little bit so that the sustained notes at the very end of the sustained note, so say I hold a note like the very end of that note, the auto-tune will ease up on it so that the transitions between the notes are a lot smoother, and you'll notice that should get rid of that warble effect.
Open up, I fall right through.
There we go. It got rid of the warble effect that we want while still having a relatively heavy retune speed here. And all retune speed is how fast the auto-tune is. So if I crank the retune speed to nothing, you'll hear
the same when I'm with you.
You'll hear like that T-Pain. But if I dial it back to like 17 milliseconds, and all this number is how many seconds or how much time it takes for the plugin to realize that a note is wrong and to correct it. In this case, 17 milliseconds.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
So without the auto-tune.
It's not the same when I'm
with auto-tune.
It's not the same when I'm.
You'll notice that it's a lot tighter, it's a lot smoother, but it's not a heavily T-Pain auto-tune effect. When a lot of people think of auto-tune, they think, oh, it's just making you sound like a robot. It can also be used as a tool like this to really, really make your vocals sound controlled. And the goal here is to make the vocals sound really, really controlled and like they're supposed to be there and that everything is in tune. Because in this, the guitars are perfectly in tune, so your vocals should be perfectly in tune. So let's listen back to it now. Ours compared to the original.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
Let's listen to theirs.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
All right. So again, it's a different singer, so it's going to sound completely different. But again, we always got to use these as references. Next, we're going to add another EQ on there. And this is going to be to get rid of a lot of the mud in the vocal. Because if you listen,
not the same when I'm with you.
Right around this range, I'll stop talking so you can listen, but listen very closely to this range.
It's not the same when I'm with you.
It's very boxy, very muddy, not very professional sounding. So we're just going to duck that a bit.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right.
And in case you're wondering what these bouncing lines are, this is called an RTA or a real-time analyzer. And basically what it does is it's showing me which frequencies are peaking.
It's not the same when I.
So I know roughly what to EQ, but you never wanna EQ with your eyes. You always want to use your ears, because if you hear something wrong, the peaks there are there for you to envision what you're hearing, not for you to completely rely on it. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is a song. People aren't going to be looking at an RTA. They're going to be listening to this. So you want to make it sound good. You don't want to make it look good.
It's not the same.
So right now, I am hearing a little bit of that mud. And you'll see on the RTA, it's peaking around this range right here, around 500 hertz.
You open up, I fall right through.
Perfect. Another thing I'm hearing is I'm hearing a little bit of harsh peaks around the 4,000 hertz range. And again, you don't need to have this absolutely memorized. I've just been doing this for roughly 8 years. So I have a very tuned ear to this type of stuff, and I can hear that it's roughly around 4,000 hertz. We're getting some harsh peaks. Listen. You hear like some really, really harsh peaks there? Not very pleasant.
Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
So that is called subtractive EQ. What that is that's just getting rid of some of the frequencies that I don't want to hear. Let's listen to it with the backing track.
It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when.
Another thing I'm hearing is roughly around this range here. I'm hearing a little bit of.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with.
Perfect. So now what this does is it's getting rid of the boxy muddiness around this range, but it's also getting rid of this harsh high end that I don't like either.
Not the same when I'm with you.
So here it is without.
Not the same when.
Here's it with.
Not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
Perfect. So now, what we're gonna do is we are going to add another plugin here called Soothe. And what this does is this is gonna smooth out the vocals. I have a preset here that I made called Vocal Harshness Ultra. There we go. Vocal Harshness Ultra. This is like the plugin that I use for this specific microphone because
It's not the
what
same
it's doing
when
is it's scanning this harsh frequency range around 4,000
it's
hertz,
not the same when
and it's ducking it as it is. So what it is I already ducked those frequencies right here in this EQ, but what I also want to do is I also want it to be actively ducking because at some points it's worse than others. So we have an overall ducking of those harsh frequencies, but then we, on top of that, we also have it so that when it's peaking, it also catches that as well. So it's just smooth and consistent. So we're going for consistency here.
the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. Same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. Same when.
All right. So next up on our list, we need to add a multi-band compressor. And again, I have presets, but remember, you never want to mix just off of presets. You always want to have your preset, but then tweak the preset for the specific vocal. And all a multi-band compressor does is what it does is it basically does what an EQ does, but automatically. And just look.
It's not the same when I'm.
You see, it is actively
It's not the.
pushing down and compressing those frequencies in the vocal so that it sounds even more smooth and even more consistent. And all of this is it's smoothing out the vocal, making it so that it's not harsh, making it so that it is consistent volume, consistent timbre, and also so that it fits the backing track a lot. Because if you notice here, you hear the vocal sounds very squished and very like strong. And here,
It's not the same when I'm with you.
take off all the effects
When I'm with you.
with the effects.
When I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
And you'll notice that it makes the vocal sound more consistent, more smooth, more all that good stuff. So then what we're going to do is we have the multi-band compressor here.
The same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
Perfect. And listen to it with the backing track.
Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
That's already sounding good. Now, something that you will probably immediately notice is compared to the instrumental, the vocal is quiet. So there is a very simple fix to that, and there is two fixes that I normally use in tandem with each other. First, I'm adding a thing called an LA2A. And this is a type of compressor that is made specifically for vocals like this to smooth it out, but also to make things louder. And we want this vocal to be loud and sort of in your face.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right.
And notice what this is doing is it's making it louder, but then I need to address this, which is actually making the compressor. Now, unlike a multi-band compressor where you're only compressing certain frequencies, this compresses the volume. This compresses the dynamics. This makes it so that the vocal isn't jumping around everywhere dynamically. It's making everything consistent. And remember, the goal here is consistency. We want it to sound consistently good across the board without any major spikes, peaks, or things that'll take you out of the listening experience.
It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open. It's not the same when I'm.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm noticing some harsh frequencies coming through again. So I'm going to add another EQ at the tail end of this compressor.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open.
I hear a peak around 2000 hertz.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
And that's going to tame some of that harshness. You hear like the compressor's adding in that harshness. I want to take that out. I don't want to deal with that.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. The same when I'm with you.
So there's the compressor. Now the vocal is still a bit quiet for my taste. So what we're going to add is we're going to add this other compressor. It's another type of compressor called an MV2. And basically, the type of compression that I've been using is called a downward compressor, where it gets the loud notes and makes them quieter. What this compressor does is the exact opposite. It gets the quieter sounds and makes them louder. As you can see, as I push this up, you'll notice right away.
When I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. When I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
Now what this does is you'll notice now I'm gonna take the effects off.
It's not the same when I'm with you.
Doesn't sound like it fits in the mix. It's very quiet, but now if you listen to it now,
It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
and listen to this compared to the original.
It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. When I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not
Now another thing that I'm noticing that the people who did the original song is they add what is called an aural exciter. It's an Aphex vintage exciter. What this does is it gets the higher frequencies and it excites them. It basically gives the vocal that little sizzle that you hear on the top end. And if I put an EQ on the original so that you can hear it, if I put an EQ on the original so you can hear it, and I just isolate this very, very top end frequency, you notice it has a very sizzly top end, and that's what I want to get out of this vocal here.
not the same when I'm with you, you open.
Now this aural exciter is slammed to a very, very, very interesting preset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to a warming male voice.
Not the same when I'm with you, you
Without.
not the same when.
With.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
And notice what that did is that gave it that same effect.
Not the same when I'm with.
It's like.
Not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. Not the same when I'm.
It's all giving it that thing. Now, another thing that you'll hear on the original vocal
It's not the same when I'm with you.
is reverb. Now, reverb is another thing that smooths out the stuff. So what I'm going to do is the reverb plugin I use is called Valhalla Vintage Verb. And basically what this does is, and again, I have a vocal preset that I use, but I will be tweaking it for this original song. The preset's just a starting place. Now what I'm going to do is, you'll hear.
Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through.
I realized that the reverb is sort of doing the same thing that the aural exciter was doing and is making it sound a bit weird, so I just sort of nixed off the aural exciter. We don't need it.
Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. Same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open.
And the dial that I'm turning here makes the reverb tail longer. So if I get this, you sort of hear it like tail off, right? If I crank this up, you'll hear right away. If I crank it up, you will very, very soon hear that it just completely just makes the vocal go into Narnia after a note's ended. We don't want that. We want what's called a slap reverb. And basically what it is just a tiny little tail at the end to make the voice sound more full and fill the space a little bit more.
I fall right through.
Let's listen to it with the backing track.
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
Then here's another trick that I use. And again, this is just another trick that I love to use. What you do is after you put your reverb, you put another instance of your Autotune. And what that does is it gets those reverb tails, and it makes it so that the tails, as well as the actual vocal, is tuned.
Not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. Came out a different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you. Came out a different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you.
Yep.
But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise. But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's
I'm just
always
listening through right now, and I'm just making any tweaks that I hear.
When you call again. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. And anyway, I measured every other day. But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again.
Now I'm just going to listen to mine and listen back to the original.
But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise. Call again. When you call again. When, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. And now it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. Surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes, surprise when, surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. Surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer. I'm not supposed to know. I let the silence answer. I've got to let it go. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer. I'm not supposed to know. I let the silence answer. I've got to let it go now. Different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you. But it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. How long is the shoreline anyway? I measured But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. Very long interlude.
All right. So I think I'm calling that mix good. That mix sounds good to me. Everything sounds nice. We added a ton of effects to it. Now we got mixing. Now it's time for mastering. And all mastering is, we don't need this reference anymore. And all mastering is basically it's getting the entire thing and normalizing the volume and making everything sound consistent. So luckily, one of my favorite plugins, and one that I have favorited, is this thing called ARTG Mastering Stereo, and it makes mastering incredibly easy. Because all the tools you need for mastering are literally sitting right here, and I have a preset for songs like this. It's called Make It Pop.
When the tide comes in, when the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again, comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again, and now it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always, and now it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again, oh, I'm not supposed to answer, I'm not supposed to, but it's always a surprise. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again.
Then finally for mastering, once I get the wideness that I want, I slap this compressor on here.
When the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again.
All right.
It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. It's not the same when I'm with you, you open up, I fall right through. The blue, it's not the same when I'm with you, but it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. And now it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when, but it's always a surprise when, oh, it's a surprise when the tide comes in. When, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in, oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. How long is the shoreline anyway? I measured every other day. Tide washes all my work away. How long's the shoreline anyway?
Yep. Okay, so now it's time for the part of the video that all of you probably clicked on here for, and that is artificial intelligence. So here I have a command line script running that is basically going to get my AI program running. And I will show you the whole process of that. But first, what we have to do is we have to solo out these vocals.
Every other day. Every other day. Oh, it's always a surprise when. Oh, it's always a surprise when.
Looks like I need to
Oh, it's always a surprise when. Oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again. How long is the shoreline anyway? I measured every other day. How long is the shoreline anyway? I measured every other day.
All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo out these vocals,
Tide washes all my work away.
remove the reverb,
Tide washes all my work away. How long's the shoreline anyway? Tide washes all my work away. How long's the shoreline anyway? Tide washes all my work away.
Perfect. So I'm going to get this, I'm going to export this, and then I'm going to add it to a new folder. So new folder, I'm going to name it Osmosis, which is the name of the song. And then I'm going to say Jaden for this one. So now my AI program has loaded. This is called RVC GUI or RVC GUI. And basically, this program is the artificial intelligence program that I use to inference my vocals. So I input my vocals, and then it outputs whatever character vocal that I want. And for this specific instance, I think I'm just going to be doing some like modern pop singers. So what I'm going to do is there is a Discord server right here called AI Hub. And what I can do is it has a ton of different voices that I can download and inference. And that's exactly what I'm going to be using right here. So I just have to think of a pop singer. Or better yet, I can have this thing do it for me. So what I can do is I can say RVC V2. I can say English. And then I can say, let's go artist, right? And if I sort by those, hello, sort by those. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, so I guess I'll just have to think of a popular artist. Let's go like I don't know, Justin Bieber. So if I go like Justin Bieber, did I spell it wrong? No, I didn't spell it wrong. I'm just stupid. So I'll go Justin Bieber, right? I don't know what the difference between Justice Era and Purpose Era is. I don't even know, man. Like, what's the difference? Okay, but what we look for is the amount of epochs. 300 epoch is good. I'll take that. So I download the model. Yep. I download the model. Then what I do is I go here. I do import model from zip. I go to my downloads. go to my downloads, and then I just type in like Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber, hello. ¿Dónde está? Oh. Oh, wait, no. The file's name is Purpose Audacity. There we go. So then what's going to happen is that model is going to get imported. I'm going to set the model type to crepe. I'm going to put the crepe hop length to the lowest it possibly can go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find Purpose Audacity, which should be the Justin Bieber one. Then I'm going to hit browse. I'm going to go to where I found my vocal, Osmosis Jaden. It's going to do that. And then I'm going to click convert. That simple. So what that's going to do is that is going to convert my vocal into Justin Bieber. Now, what's going to happen is while that's doing its thing, and note this takes quite a while. If you look in here, you can see the process. Remember, this thing's called RVC GUI. Just look it up on GitHub. You'll find it. Then what's going to happen is I'm going to create a new audio track. I'm going to add it to a group by hitting Control G. Right? Remember, Control T, and then Control G to add it to a group. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of the effects from right here. I'll turn the reverb on again. That is important. I'm going to paste them into the group. I'm going to get all of the effects from here, and I'm going to paste them into the group right here. And basically what this is going to do is any audio that I add to this group will also have those effects on them, and that's very important for the AI, especially if I'm doing multiple voices. I'm planning on doing like Justin Bieber, and I'll find one more. So go back to the AI Hub Discord server, and what I should be able to do is have my computer lag out naturally. Naturally, my computer is lagging out. You need to have a pretty spicy computer in order for this to actually run well. I'm not gonna lie. Your computer actually needs to be like goated in order to run this. Luckily, I have a goated computer. But yeah, no, this is gonna take a while. Hold up. I need to think of another. Like famous celebrity, I guess. I don't even know. I don't know. Famous celebrity. I don't know. Like celebrity singer. I don't even know. I'll go like. I don't know who's the lead singer. I'll do Kurt Cobain. Yeah, I'll do Kurt Cobain. Why? Yeah, I'll do Kurt Cobain. Why not? And a fun thing that Audio Hub does is basically what they do is they just
on a cobweb.
They give like a little sample of the AI just to see if it's something that you actually want to, download. I just click continue to download. Everything from the server is safe. Don't even worry about it. Looking at another version of it. Only 150 epochs. You want your models to be at least 250 epochs or larger, or else it just won't sound good. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to get this model. Again, you can still import models while the other model's inferencing. I'll find Kurt. Yep. Boom. Then if I go here, that model should be imported. Where's K? Yep, right there. So yeah, now what's going to happen is I'm going to go to the bathroom while this is inferencing, and I will come back. All right. It's been roughly an hour now, and the AI thing has finished its inferencing. So let's take a listen to how it sounds.
When the tide comes in, it's always a surprise when you call again.
Yep, that's Justin Bieber, all right. Then just another quality of life thing that I usually do. You guys don't have to do this, but this definitely helps to organize things, is you go here, you find what it is, and you just rename it to Justin, so that once you actually get it and drag it into the program, it's labeled for you so you know who's who, and it labels the track and it labels this as well. So now all that's left to do is to line up these two things. Let me just get that. Just to line up these two, just to make sure that they're all on the right time. Mute my vocals, and since all of the effects are already on Justin Bieber's,
I almost forgot to turn.
oh yeah,
It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
oops, one sec, I forgot. Very important step. Take Melodyne off of it. It glitches it out for some reason. But anyways, let's listen to Justin Bieber's rendition of the song.
I almost forgot to turn on the camera. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through. I came out a different shade of blue.
Now you'll notice something very, very prevalent is this vocal is loud and this vocal is harsh. So a lot of the effects that I put on my vocals we gotta take out. So we take out the MV2. We ease up on this compressor right here. We make this a lot quieter.
Oh, I almost forgot to turn on the camera. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall right through.
And you'll notice that fixed it quite a bit.
I came out a different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you. I almost forgot to turn on the camera. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the same when I'm with you. You open up, I fall.
Now this model isn't the best because I usually program all of my own models so that it fits my voice perfectly. I did not program this model, so this model is not tuned for my voice. But yeah, no, this model isn't the best, so it doesn't sound the best, but there are things we can do to make it sound better. One of which being with the EQ. Remember this harshness EQ band I did earlier?
Different shade of blue. It's not the same when I'm with you. Different shade of blue. It's not the same.
Absolutely crank the heck out of that. Also, this Soothe plugin here as well. Crank the heck out of that.
With you, you open up, I fall right through.
That'll make it sound a lot better.
With you, you open up, I fall right through.
Alright, because artificial intelligence, for some odd reason, adds a lot of weird high-end frequencies to vocals. I don't know why, but you can easily just take that out with EQ and with Soothe. But anyways, yeah, no, that is the full process and my full tutorial on how I do the AI voices. I want to, and if I ever want to do a second voice, what I could do is I could, just find my Kurt Cobain one, hit convert. The second one, after you do it once, the other ones are very, very fast. It's just the first one that you're inferencing that takes a while. But other than that, it's relatively fast for this next one. I could probably just keep talking here. But yeah, no, what I would do then is I would just, chop up the vocals a bit, make it so that one person's singing then the other person, and then I would just have a bunch of tracks. What I can do is I can just create another track within the group, right? Just create another track within the group. Then once this finishes inferencing, then we'll have Justin Bieber and Kurt Cobain. I'll have Justin Bieber sing like the first part, right? Alright, I'll have Justin Bieber sing the first part, and then after that, once Kurt Cobain finishes, I'll have Kurt Cobain sing the second part. But as you can see, in my list of models, I have all of my models. I got what's it called? I got all the the SpongeBob ones. I got Karen. I got Mr. Krabs. I got SpongeBob. I got all of them. Just trying to think. Yeah, no, this is inferencing. This is gonna take a bit. Yeah, no, that is really about it. But yeah, no. Anyways, for the version that's gonna be released on my channel, there we go. I'm just gonna release the cover version. I'm not gonna release the AI version. But for the tutorial, I wanted to do some AI ones. So let's listen to how the Kurt Cobain one sounds.
It's a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better actually. That model is like a lot more well made. So let me just grab it, slap it in here. Remember to line everything up.
Camera, I'm not gonna lie. Camera, I'm not gonna lie.
Boom, line everything up.
Got to turn on the camera, but it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in. When the tide comes in. Oh, it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again. When you call again.
And yeah, no, that is exactly how I do my AI vocals and my covers. As you could, it's probably a lot more complicated of a process than you guys probably first anticipated. And turns out the AI is actually the easy part. The difficult part is the mixing. So yeah, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, anyways, this is not my normal style of video. Do not expect this from me, really at all, in the future. It's just that everyone was, requesting a tutorial, so I thought I'd do it. This video is not going to have that much editing on it. It's just going to be raw. I'm just going to be cutting out silences and stuff. But yeah, no, that's about it. I will see you guys in a bit. Yeah. Enjoy the cover.